Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to a breaking edition of the Bengal Tiger podcast. I'm Billy Embody. With me is Shay Dixon, and we are here because the Tigers landed yet another 2024 commitment out of the state of Louisiana with West Feliciana four-star safety Joel Rogers announcing his commitment to the Tigers over Alabama, Texas A&M, TCU, offers from all over the country. Shay, this is yet another top 10 prospect in the state of Louisiana, and all the more reason for LSU fans to be excited.
Yeah, whenever you listen to Joel Rogers talk about why he committed to LSU, staying home, being a part of what Louisiana can bring to LSU, being a part of what Brian Kelly and the staff are trying to build and towards in terms of year two and moving forward with competing for more than just an SEC West title, but towards a national championship, and really rooting all that in and growing it, the base of it with Louisiana first. That's what these guys are buying into right now. And we saw Wallace Foster get on board at corner early on with that pitch. We saw Jawan Johnson flip into the DB class from Colorado with that same pitch. And now we see, look, a guy like Joel Rogers, Billy, it wasn't 2 or 3 months ago when Joel Rogers and Deshaun McBride out of Denham Springs didn't have LSU offers. And both of us sat on this podcast and on our site and said, they need to offer both those guys and get them committed. And don't wait till summer camp. Don't wait till senior year. Make the move now. These guys are talented enough. You don't have to go chasing safeties from California and up the East Coast or in Florida, wherever it might be, when they're good enough right here. Skilled players in Louisiana are always there every cycle. And LSU did it. They offered both those guys in the middle of the spring. They popped Deshaun McBride. Now they popped Joel Rogers. And what Deshaun McBride, Billy, he set the Denham Springs record for interceptions, 9 in one season at safety. We're looking at a Joel Rogers who shined at quarterback, shined at DB, already plays both ways. Now he's going to play some safety, maybe some nickel at the college level. But once again, they didn't wait. They made the offer, they pressed him, they recruited him hard, and we entered this month, Billy, where he said, I don't know when I'm going to decide, but I want to take an official visit to LSU. I want to take one to Bama, and I want to take one to TCU. LSU ends up convincing him to do none of that. He takes an unofficial visit to LSU. He wipes the slate clean, saves his LSU official visit for December, cancels on Bama, cancels on TCU, and sets an announcement date, goes public in front of what was a very obvious pro LSU crowd up in the St. Francisville area on Monday when he made the commitment from his high school in the gym at West Feliciana High. So a big one for LSU and Billy, on three at least, the number 4 ranked player in Louisiana. That is what you want to hear when you're an LSU fan.
Yeah, and I think, look, he plays both ways up there at West Feliciana, but has some experience, like you talked about last week on the podcast, at playing defensive back. And I think that helps his ceiling even more. And with LSU, you've got a guy who could play free safety. He could play a little bit of nickel if need be. But you have somebody, I think, that just has the athleticism that checks out on the field and in many ways. So we're really high on this edition. You've got to give a bunch of people credit. I mean, Kerry Cooks, Joe Sloan, Frank Wilson, Sherman Wilson, just so many people on this LSU staff that are involved in Louisiana recruiting and recruiting Joel Rogers. I mean, the list just kind of goes on. Jordan Arcimo, even though he's kind of transitioned into LSU NIL stuff, I mean, he was a key piece. There's just a bunch of people that it takes. It takes a village to get these Louisiana guys on board to click the right buttons so that there isn't much drama and you kind of know that these players are going to stay home. So they've checked another one off the box in Louisiana, and it was a big one.
I've been impressed by what the staff's doing. And let's look at, like, you could look at the Louisiana top 10 right now. This now puts them over the top or over halfway of the top 10. They had been sitting on five of the 10 players who were in the On3 top 10 in Louisiana have made a college commitment entering today. All 5 are committed to LSU. Now there's 6 with Joel Rogers. As I mentioned, he's the number 4 player in Louisiana. 6 of the top 10 are now committed to LSU. They don't even think they hit 5 of the top 10 last year during that transition year where Arch Manning left the state, Derek Williams out of Westgate left the state, Eli Holstein out of Zachary left the state, Jaden Osbury out of U High, Tackett Curtis out of Manny, Jordan Matthews out of the Woodlawn area, out of Woodlawn, the Baton Rouge area. All those guys left the state to play at other colleges and were all top 10 players. It's a transition year from coming off back-to-back 500 regular seasons and having to move on from Coach O to Brian Kelly. But you don't want to let that happen 2 years in a row. They made sure of it. And right now they are trending absolutely in the right direction. And every guy in that top 10 who is not committed, LSU leads the way on the on-3 RPM, whether that's the state's #1 player in Dominic McKinley, whether that's Wardell Mack, who's the best athlete probably in the state, but a DB coming out of John Ehret in Marrero. So I absolutely love the effort that Frank Wilson, the rest of the staff, as you mentioned, has put in, and Brian Kelly's buying into of Louisiana first, especially when it comes to these skill guys. Go out there and get them. Getting Joel Rogers in the boat right now, offering him in the spring. Don't wait because Oklahoma had offered, Bama had offered, all these A&M had offered, TCU had offered. Don't play the catch-up game just because he's from Louisiana and you want to make sure that, you don't make a misstep. Get your eval in. They did. Get a relationship. They did. And then from there, it checks the boxes. And they said, all right, we're ready to offer. We're ready to push for a commitment. And they got it done. I know we've said it on about every podcast we've done where his name comes up. Joel Rogers is, for you and I, one of our favorite players in Louisiana this cycle, just because of what he's already proven at the high school level.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him as a senior, and maybe now that he's committed and has been on campus here and there earlier this summer. He obviously canceled that Bama official visit, which was already on the books, and they weren't. His team didn't do the 7-on-7, but maybe we see him camp this weekend, which would be fun too, to see him get out there and work out. Because, like I said, we just like watching him play football, and LSU got a good one here. When you look at the safety class for LSU now. They've got a guy that's still on the board who can play all over, really, corner, safety, whatever, in Wardell Mack out of the New Orleans area, who on 3 could very well end up having a 5-star grade on when it's all said and done. Do you think they look for another true safety, or do you think it's kind of Wardell Mack who could play all these different positions and that's kind of it?
I think right now you look at Wardell Mack as being a guy who can play safety, can play corner, either one. He plays on both sides of the ball right now. John Aaron is phenomenal. If I'm LSU, I wanted to get at least 3 safeties into this class. Look, there's talk that Maurice Williams can grow into a linebacker, that Joel Rogers could grow into a linebacker, that Deshaun McBride, like you throw all that out there. I think all 3 guys are safeties. I think they want all 3 guys to be safeties. So this is a good young trio to build your safety room around. Now, they just hosted Joshua Lair on an official visit coming out of Texas, but he's still got more official visits to come. I want to see the dust settle from all that before I really know where they stand. I know people have asked about Kadavian Dotson-Walker out of Duncanville. I just think they had some other guys higher on the wish list than him. We're seeing that come to fruition right now. So could there be other safeties that get added to the class? Yeah, sure. I do know for a fact that these 3 safeties they now have committed were the 3 guys they wanted the most.
And I mean, look, and this is not to scare everybody here, but you feel good about Deshaun McBride and Joel Rogers, obviously, and keeping them. But there are other schools that want Maurice Williams. So they got to keep recruiting him kind of like he's uncommitted, get him back on campus because it's been kind of quiet on that front. So you'd like to see him get back on campus and kind of, maybe even shut things down completely. But that's still a prospect that is being recruited heavily, as you would expect, one of the best safeties in the country, very hard by other programs. So we'll continue to, kind of watch that. And maybe that's something LSU's keeping an eye on as well. But you want this group of safeties to sign. It would be one of the best hauls in the country without a doubt.
No, yeah, you got to hold on to Maurice Williams. And look, let's be real. Like, there's a lot of kids who are committed to LSU right now. Zion Ferguson, JoJo Stone, some out-of-state kids who are taking a wave of other visits. Maurice Williams hasn't really done that, not to the degree he could with the offers he has. And he's popped up at LSU a ton. So, and he's been vocal on Twitter, social media, whatever it is, interviews about being locked in with LSU. So I think they've done a good job with it. And I'm curious to see if that trend continues of him kind of sticking with LSU, not really looking around a ton. But if they're able to move through the fall with these three guys committed, I feel great about it. And if you want to add another safety from the high school ranks and you think it's a good take, perfect. That's icing on the cake. It's lanyap, as they would say around here. But these are the three guys that after the spring evaluation period came to an end, these are the three they circled and said, we have to go get them. Maurice Williams is in, Deshaun McBride's in, now Joel Rogers is in.
Yeah. So the rich get richer in a sense as LSU adds another terrific prospect in Joel Rogers. A big party going on up there in St. Francisville right now as he
2 for 2 in St. Francisville.
2 for 2. Print the shirts, as they say up there. So LSU gets a massive commitment from Joel Rogers. This has been a breaking edition of the Bengal Tiger Recruiting Podcast. Much more to come this week. Official visit preview. Maybe more commitments. Who knows? LSU's red hot right now in recruiting. So be sure to keep it locked on thebengaltiger.com. Subscribe for just $1 for 3 months or $50 for the year. Also, you get your Bengal Tiger Founders Club hat for free. So check that out as well. Keep hitting the subscribe button to the YouTube channel too. Lots of stuff to come.
Yeah, I'm going to pitch this one better than Billy. It's $1 to get you all the way into football season. And Billy said maybe more commitments this week. There will be more commitments this week. We've got already a story up on Monday. Check it out. The trend meter. I put in there the next three guys I expect to commit to LSU. Joel Rogers was on that list. So far, one domino down, a couple more to go this week. But also my mock prediction 2.0, where I give you who I think get everyone that LSU gets by the time February signing day settles, or at least the dust settles on it. So just for those alone, $1. Then you get everything else, the hat, coverage every day. I think I counted we're over 50 stories from the camp circuit, and we still have this weekend's camp to come, Billy. So if you're not a member of On3 yet, if you haven't made that jump and you're with us at 24/7 or with us with Scout back in the day, we are rocking at On3 right now. So $1 for a few months, that's about as good of a deal as we'll get.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, Tigers are going to Omaha. So if you want to chat about it too on the message board, you can. So it's just a great time to be on board. So stay tuned. Lots more to come, as Shay said. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Bengal Tiger Recruiting Podcast. We'll catch you with another edition, as Shay said, later this week as he's calling the shot. LSU gets more commitments, so don't miss out. Subscribe today. Appreciate you guys listening, and enjoy the party. Joel Rogers is a Tiger.